What is up? It's Adam Balsinger coming to you again with another video from the Investor Boardroom. As always, the goal of this video is to help get you one step closer to financial freedom. I've got my main man, Brandon, here.
What's up, guys? This
is going to be weird for Brandon. He's normally on the other side of the camera. Brandon's actually my video guy.
Yeah, it's weird to be in front of the lens right now.
So if he's awkward, like, don't thumbs down the video, just if he's awkward.
Yeah, I'm just the tech guy.
That's his thing, his awkwardness. But, so, we're sitting here, right, and we're game planning, we're talking about, like, okay, what are we shooting today, and what are we talking about? And I shared with Brandon that I wanted to talk about the fact that my team and I typically are pursuing, when we're chasing after multifamily deals, we intentionally do not look for mid-rise or high-rise apartment complexes. We like walk up all one level, or we like garden style walk-ups, okay? And Brandon was like, really, why? Right? We have a lot of conversations just kind of behind the scenes.
Before we're shooting, yeah.
Before we're shooting, in between shoots, right? I'm learning about like videography and shit, and Brandon's over here learning about real estate and investing and whatnot. But so the reason that we avoid a lot of those properties is the elevators. Elevators can be really, really problematic and really, really expensive to fix. And so when I shared that it was the kind of fear over how expensive repairing elevators can be, Brandon shared a personal experience of his. He actually just recently moved out of a pretty nice building here in Uptown Charlotte, which is like Center City, Charlotte.
It was 6 years old.
So it was a 6-year-old building, and you moved like, you're on the same block that you were on before,
right down the street.
Right? Like literally the same block.
Yeah.
So what happened, man? Why'd you make the move?
Actually, it was the reason for a lot of people, and it was just because our elevators were broken, and it was 43 floors with 12 units on each floor. That's a lot of people occupying that building.
Okay, 43 and 12, so we're at like 50, 60 units, something like that. My mental math is really not that great.
Maybe a little bit higher.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, and so
400.
That's a lot of people.
That was way off. 400, right?
We were at probably about 98% occupancy at all times.
And you said it was 6 years old, the building.
6 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the elevator went out the first time, and so that one was out for about 2 months. So we were down to 3 elevators, one of them being
Okay, so first of all, there's 4 elevators on this 40-story building with
Correct.
400, 500 some units on it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a lot of elevators to begin with. 6 years old.
One of the elevators was a service elevator, so people moving in and out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That would be reserved for the whole day. So
Yeah.
now we're down to 2 elevators for that many floors, and so that created a wait time. Of course, during the busy hours, when people go to work at 8 a.m. and then coming home at 5 a.m., that was the busy hours. But then even throughout the day, the wait time for the elevator was about 5 minutes when we were down to 2 elevators. So they fixed.
That's just regular during the daytime, or you're saying that's like leaving, coming home time?
Yeah, leaving, coming home time.
Okay.
But probably about a 5-minute wait on the elevator. And 5 minutes waiting on the elevator feels like 15.
Yeah.
And so they fixed that one.
I know, because I used to have to drive a lot when I still lived in Philly and was not working remote. You know, like you get road rage. Did people get like elevator rage in the building?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Because and there was tactics to get on the elevator, because to get to the floor that had the least amount of traffic. Yeah, if you went to the very bottom of the parking deck, you were guaranteed a spot on that elevator. And
that makes sense.
That's what it came down to. So
if you're like on the 20th floor, by the time it comes down to you, it's full, and you're probably waiting again for another.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there's strategies to get on it. So they fixed that elevator. Then another one broke right after that, and then another one broke. So now we're down to 2 elevators, one of them being the service elevator, and they still have to reserve it for people moving in.
Oh my
So now we're
goodness.
down to 1 elevator
Oh my goodness.
during the day. And so the wait time is now 10 minutes minimum.
Oh
and
my
this
gosh.
is with 15 to 20 people in the lobby waiting to get on. And so they'll have to wait to get on the elevator. After it packs up, then it goes down, then it comes back down to the lobby already full. So now they're waiting 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And everybody, like, we're all in this building paying between $2,000 to $4,000 a month for these.
Yeah, so again, this is like, so I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Charlotte, but when I moved to Charlotte, like, it's uptown. That's like the sense. So like to me, that's downtown, right? But in Charlotte, it's uptown. So anyway, Brandon was in a 6-year-old building, high rise, essentially like right on Romery
Street.
Park,
Yeah.
which is one of the bigger parks, like right in the nightlife, right by the minor league baseball stadium, like in the action, right? So he's like premium pricing for an apartment
Right.
in the Charlotte area.
To have that much of an inconvenience.
To wait for 20 minutes to get on your elevator.
So not only was it expensive for them to fix because it was parts and then labor, they'd be there for all day, for at least 2 weeks at a time, but then they had people moving out because of the elevators.
Of course.
So then they had just vacant apartments due to an elevator problem.
Yeah. So ironic, right? Because the reason we don't invest in those kinds of properties, and I shouldn't say we don't, right? Because there's always extenuating circumstances. You know, we'll put this video out and then we'll wind up with like a screaming hot deal on a property that has an elevator in it, and it'll make me sound like a liar. So we don't actively pursue these kinds of properties with elevators in them. If something hit our desk and it was a screaming hot deal, and we could project, repairs on eventual elevator breakdowns, because you have to plan for this kind of stuff, right? If you're not planning for the elevator to break down and then you have an $80,000 elevator expense, like, it's going to fuck up the performance of your property for at least like a short period of time, if not for a year or maybe even longer, right? Like, that's a big nut. High 5 figures, low 6 figures you can be looking at for elevator repair, depending on the building, how many stories it is, what's wrong with it, right? And so just from a sheer financial impact on the performance of the property, on the performance of the investment, right? That's why we really avoid it. But then when we were talking about it and Brandon brought up some of the actual issues that he as a tenant faced, and then this kind of, it sounded like there was a mass exodus in the property, because one of the things that Brandon mentioned was that one of those elevators was down for 6 months, right? And it was just so there had to have been something wrong with the whoever they hired probably didn't do a right job there somehow. But if you're living in a building and there's only 4 units and you've got to wait for 15 minutes and you're paying premium costs, like, you're gonna leave that building after a while, just because you just get sick of it after a while, the sheer inconvenience. Now, there's some other red flags. There's some other things that will kind of eliminate us from looking at a property. But that was not really the goal today, was not to share all of those things. It's just to provide a little bit more insight into some of the reasons that we're looking at certain properties, not looking at other properties, just to help you understand that there really is a method behind our madness here, and we are really, really intentional about what it is that we do. So Brandon, thanks for coming out from behind the camera.
Yeah, it was nice.
He looks super excited, right? Doesn't he? But thank you again for joining us for another video from the Investor Boardroom. Make sure to like the video. Go ahead and hit subscribe so that the next video that comes out you don't miss, because we want to help you get one step closer to the ultimate goal of financial freedom. See ya.